Tuesday, February 20th, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. And if you don't notice, I have shifted over to NinjaTrader for the platform to show you my analysis and strategies. If you want to contact me, you can reach me at info@ersignals, info@ersignals.com, and I will try to respond to your request, interests, symbols you want me to analyze, whatever, ASAP. Now, the E-mini March futures contract has dropped off sharply today, starting to make new lows for the last few days. But that's not really the story. The story is, for the last couple of weeks, I have been looking for the beginning of a decline. I got a little bit of a false start on January 31st, and then another one frustrating on February 13th. We are now approaching the lowest lows for several days on today's break. Currently down 40 points or so on the E-mini March futures contract. I like what I see. I've got no problem. We're coming down out of overbought conditions. We have somewhat of a divergence top, new highs in price over a few weeks, while no new high in the indicator. My minimum downside objective is going to be 48.63, with the definite possibility of coming into the zone here of 48.44 down to maybe even 47.50. Back to support area that developed because of the trading range in mid-December through about January 18th. That's it. After that, I'm expecting to see the market turn around and start to make very strong rally in a new historic high ground again. Next chart is the 1 minute E-mini futures contract. And you can see from yesterday afternoon late, after trading somewhat on President's Day, going sideways, it started to drop down and kept on dropping. And this morning, now being 9:54 California time, we just made the lowest low for the day and for the last several days, and are bouncing a little bit. But it looks like we're going to continue to start to slip some more. Now, the next chart is the spider. We did have a bearish engulfing outside down day within the allotted number of previous days that were overbought, and that generates a new ER sell signal on Friday for the E-mini. I meant the spider. So current quote 495.5. We're short from the signal on Friday. Like what I see. Minimum downside expectation is not very far away at 490, but that's only 5 points. And that actually could happen today, although I think that's a bit of a stretch. We're already down 4. Now, we've seen, a down 10 point at a moment only several days ago. So the volatility is increasing. The average true ranges are increasing, and bigger ranges might be expected here in the next several days or week or two. So my minimum downside objective, whether it happens today or this week, and I think it will be this week, 490, 0.60. But I really do think it's going to come down to 42-ish. And the yellow zone here is the really significant support area on the spider, and that is going to be 477 down to about 465.60. That's where I think it's going to end up bottoming out, turn around, and go back to new high ground. This is the 1 minute chart on the spider. You can see that the highs on Friday were definitely higher than Thursday, and the low early on Friday was lower by just a little tiny bit, but lower than Thursday's low during Friday. And that's the signal. When it closed below the previous close on Thursday, it closed lower on Friday after the higher high and the lower low. So down it goes. Next, next. We have the QQQ, which did also have a bearish engulfing ER sell signal within the allotted number of past overbought days. And we have an excellent trade in progress, and that's reflected by the trade plot right now at the current quote, green because it's slanted down. Didn't sell it particularly gracefully, not near the high of the day, but got short, not stopped out. Stop hasn't really started to trail down yet because I probably hasn't changed my parameters, which I could do, and I've done on some of these charts, to reflect the flexibility of ER signals. But the trade's working. I mean, if you got out right now, you'd have whatever, you've got. Next chart is the NASDAQ futures contract, and it did have an ER sell signal on Friday. Now, it traded slightly on Monday. That's why we have this little extra day in here. But it's almost low and last like the other indexes at the moment, and doing very, very well. We've only been in this since Friday. So let's see how long we can hold this without getting bumped out of the trade. But we're almost guaranteeing, and I can't use that word, I shouldn't use that word. We're almost locking in, theoretically locking in a profit. Next chart is the NASDAQ 1 minute, showing you minute by minute detail on how the strategy with the right inputs can trail automatically the stop as the market moves down, and the stop moves very frequently, sometimes minute by minute, or not quite as frequently, but probably more than once a day. Now, on yesterday's market, it went flat, so the stop didn't move at all. But when we started to come down today, boom, 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 down, and now it's way below our new short entry price. So we are having a great day. Next is the bond market. We came down to a support area, the zone here, and it's trying to bounce pretty accurately off the bottom of what I marked as my bottom of the support zone. Not a lot, 118.19 at the moment, a little bit above yesterday's high. Nothing major here, no signals. I think it's probably going to go sideways to lower for a little while longer. 10-year notes, almost the exact same thing. This is an old trade from the bottom of the market when we got a buy signal to where it got stopped out, given the kickers that we're using, and that's the trailing stop word we like to use. It's a kicker. It moves the stop along slowly or quickly, depending upon the user's personal preference. Next, we've got crude oil against resistance. I think it's going to turn down. It's trying to now. We've got minor new lows for a couple of days, no big deal. But I think it's going to start breaking below 75.5 and probably test this bull trend line and maybe even start to break even below that. But I've got no sell signal. All I can say is resistance seems to be stopping it, and I'm looking for lower levels real quick next few days. Natural gas, oversold, very much so. Bounce back up to resistance, quite possible, 1.7. And maybe we could even come back to the next little area here of 1.9. But the fact that it's oversold means that you're likely to have a bounce very soon. I know it's been oversold all the way down here, but that's one of the shortcomings of an RSI or oscillators. You need to wait until that critical moment, until some evidence that it's actually starting to turn, to do something about it. Otherwise, they can stay oversold or overbought for that matter for several days or even a little longer until finally it kicks in. Next chart is heating oil, which got overbought and kicked in very nicely a week ago, and we're still short. It's working great. We have a new low and a new low close, probably a new low close today. So I'm looking for, I hope, the bottom of this big support resistance area. And now we're in the support area and probably going to drop off quite a bit more, maybe down to 2.5. And we're 2.6 at the moment. Doing great. Next chart. Gold. Got oversold in support, bouncing now for 3 days. It's between a rock and a hard spot. I think it could get up to resistance again and maybe come back to support again. I got no breakouts, no signals. I just have to wait. I do want to point out, though, that the last year, the 2023, was outstanding for the ER signals picking major tops and bottoms of intermediate to bigger swings. Got a buy signal at the bottom, sell at the top, sell at the top, buy at the bottom, sell at the top, buy at the bottom here, and maybe even more. Oh yeah, buy at the bottom right there, sell at the top right there. And that's February 23. A lot of really great signals last year in gold. Silver, same thing. Both precious metals have given me outstanding signals last year. I have to mention that, past performance is not indicative of future results, and hypothetical returns has some inherent limitations, meaning just because it was really great last year doesn't mean it's going to be great this year. It could be worse. It could do the same. It could do better. We're going to find out. So far, it's February, and we haven't got any signals. Next chart. No signals here in platinum at the moment. And last year, this did very well, but not quite as good as silver and gold. No comment. It's an outside trading range at the moment with a slightly higher level. So that implies that the market starts going to rally a little bit. We did bounce out of support, and now we're clearing the top of the support area. So I think it's going to rally up to probably 937 and maybe even back up to this resistance at 969. Next, we got high-grade copper. Excuse me. Bullish engulfing. Looks like it's going to come up to resistance again, just like it did a few weeks ago. Then it stopped and came down to support, and we bottomed out, and up we go. So again, rock in a hard spot, no major breakouts, no signals, just bouncing back and forth here in this support resistance zone. Next chart, we're bouncing off support in soybeans. It didn't give me any kind of a signal, just support areas. We bounce out of them usually, and that's what's happening at the moment. So where we're going to go? Probably back up to 1204, but that's not all that far away. I don't see much more than that. This is a bear market. The trend is your friend. Don't trust rallies unless you get real good reasons to do so, and I haven't. So soon, maybe a week or two, we'll see new lows. Next, meal, same thing. This is oil, same thing. No comment other than bear trend, bear market, not oversold, coming close to support. I think it's going to keep dribbling on down here. Next is meal. Same comments here. Support did not hold. It tried to, and it did for a few days back here on January 29th. Lately, it came back into the same support area, tried to hold, but it didn't. A couple of days ago, it broke down below it, made new lows for the trend for months, since October. Bouncing slightly, not really sure about this, except the longer term, intermediate term seems to be down. Short term, you might get a little bit more, a few more days of bounce out of this, but I don't trust it. I'd be looking for short sale signals. Next, corn. Oversold, and substantially so a few days ago, but nothing showing yet about a rally. If we do have a bullish engulfing today or in the next few days, we will get a buy signal, and then I'll be excited about a rally. Right now, I'm expecting it, but I'm not getting the right signals. Next chart is wheat. Today is a bullish engulfing ER buy signal right now. It is happening smack dab at that previous support area that we had back in November 28th. This is adding to my longer term commentary that I've been coming up with for the last several weeks about wheat maybe building some bottom. I can't say I'm very excited about it yet, but this sure as heck is a good sign. I'm very optimistic that this is maybe the start of something much bigger than it looks like at the moment. We would obviously have to come all the way back up to this resistance area and get above the resistance area above 668 in order to have produced past tense several weeks from now, a couple of months, maybe more from now, the impression of a long-term bottom. But I am not surprised to see this bullish engulfing today. I'm very happy to find it. I am now bullish because of this. Track the wheat market as of today. Let's see how far this can carry. I like what I see. I got to give it a pretty high rating at previous low support, bullish engulfing over, so everything fits. Let's see if we can first get up to about 612, 610 and get through that on the way up. I would expect that to be fairly easy to do. 607, 8, 9, 10. Good. Wheat, brand new signal. Next chart. Cattle. Resistance seems to be stopping it. Several days ago, we got a bearish engulfing ER sell signal that did work for a few days, provided plenty of profit potential, but the last couple of days we popped back up again into the same resistance area, turning around. It looks like, not very sure about that, but starting to in that resistance area. And let's see if we can break below 182. That would give us a very small little double top in resistance and be a lot more interesting. That would probably drop it into the next support at 180 and very possibly below that, which could develop into something much more bearish longer term. You got to love it when you get these sell signals smack dab on the high tick. But remember, watch. When you do get the signal, it doesn't look like it's really the beginning of some gigantic bear move. But hey, 2020 hindsight, huge. That's the implication. Doesn't happen that way all the time, but sometimes it does. And that's why I developed a system to pick major tops and bottoms, which it does frequently. To my liking, not often enough, but next chart. Hogs. Nothing going on here. Really can't come to any conclusions. When it's yellow, it means it was either overbought or oversold, and you're going to get a turn probably, but not guaranteed, but probably. When it's white, it's not overbought or oversold for a significant amount of time, and I really don't care unless I see something interesting. And sorry, I don't care. No comment. OJ, sell signal on the top of the first shoulder on the head and shoulder top. Sell signal on the top of the market, on the top of the head and shoulder top. But at the time that happened, those first two, you don't know it's going to be a head and shoulder top. You got to have this, the last shoulder form, around the time it's supposed to, around the price it's likely to, and then you can start talking about, oh my God, head and shoulder top, watch out, here we go, which it did break down. Talked about this every day by day before it happened. You can start listening to my commentary probably on December 8th of 23, and I did it, whatever. I came down to the minimum downside objective almost exactly, and it's had a really big rally since. Now, guess what? A few days ago, we had a bearish engulfing in OJ again. Here's the strategy trade. Got out a couple of days ago. Nice trade. Now it's rallying again. I think orange juice is developing gigantic long-term top, but I have to wait to see what happens on this rally. So no comment at the moment, but I do have that long-term bearish impression. Next, cocoa. Looking for sell signals. It has been a rocket to the moon and blow off top sideways 4 days, very frustrating. And finally on Friday, it dropped like a rock, and I was real happy about that. But hey, I didn't expect it to come back and get up to levels that are higher than Friday's high. Now, this is not terrible. It's back to the little 4 or 5 day sideways movement. So there's no new high for the trend, and it's right up against a little bit of resistance from the previous week. It's not much. The trend is still up, but the signals I've been getting, and there haven't been official ER, red sell signals like that one, which didn't work. Anyway, overall, I think it's still topping out. Let's see what happens next. I'd wait a little bit before I made any kind of decision. Next, coffee. Very neutral lately. Resistance is stopping the rallies. You can see a bunch of tails here that are up in the resistance area where the bodies, meaning the high or the open or the close of the range of that day, stopped. although we do have some a little tail sticking up. They're only into that resistance, and it didn't stay there on the close. So resistance still persists. A couple of days up here, might poke at it again. I think it's topping out. Next chart, sugar. A minor support area has held for now 3 or 4 days or so. I really can't call it all that significant. Frankly, I don't even like that support area all that much. Mostly because it's surfaced in the last few days pretty accurately. And there's some decent, not great, evidence of it being legitimate in the last 2 months and a half or so. I don't know. Short-term bearish, intermediate term, and long-term bearish. Next is cotton the rag. Blow off top. I talked about it, gave that exact description, and all of a sudden last Friday, we have a bearish engulfing ER sell signal. So far, smack dab on top of the move. Perfect. Now, it's not in the resistance area, which I would have expected, but you can never make the market do what you want it to do. You always have to move with it. We're dropping like a rock today. We're currently close to the low. Well, actually not. The low is at the bottom of support. So I think it's going to slip back down again and continue in the next few days this week to make lower lows than today's lows and break below the support and be on its way down even more. This is a great signal developing just perfectly so far. Brand new one as of Friday. Cotton. Next. We're back to the E-mini. We're near the low and last. As you know, I'm short-term, maybe a little intermittent, meaning a few weeks. Slightly reactionary. I hesitate to use the word bearish in the stock market indexes. I'm really an intermediate to long-term bull, but I do see the correction coming, and I think it's started. You guys have a great day. Any comments? Info@ersignals.com. Thank you. Signing off.